President Trump also offering praise for President Bush 41 as he attends the last day of the G20 summit in Argentina. Still ahead for President Trump, a very important meeting tonight with Chinese President, but the death of Bush 41 also forcing a change in the president's plans. John Roberts is with the president in Buenos Aires. John?
Ebony, good afternoon to you. President Trump right now in a bilateral meeting with the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel started off the bilateral meeting by saying that she considers President Bush 41 to be the father of German reunification. And President Trump with praise for the 41st President of the United States and condolences for his family. Listen here.
We extended our best wishes, and he was a very fine man. I met him on numerous occasions. He was just a high-quality man who truly loved his family. One thing that came through loud and clear, he was very proud of his family and very much loved his family. So he was a terrific guy, and he'll be missed, and he led a full life.
And as you said at the top, Ebony, the death of President Bush 41 forcing some changes to this president's plans. He was supposed to be having a press conference about an hour and 45 minutes from now to talk about the G20. And obviously there were a lot of other issues that have been following the president on this trip to Argentina. But a short time ago, the White House called that off. Here's what the president said about it.
We were going to have a very big press conference, and out of respect for President Bush, we've canceled it here, and we'll have it back in Washington at some time.
So the president has declared Wednesday, December 5th, as a national day of mourning for President Bush 41. He and the First Lady will attend the state funeral for the president at the National Cathedral. I believe a date for that is yet to be determined. While the press conference was canceled today, the president still has a lot of work to do. He's got that big dinner meeting tonight with President Xi Jinping of China. White House officials hoping for some kind of breakthrough in trade talks. The president recently had a conversation with President Xi Jinping that has him feeling optimistic. Listen to what the president said about it yesterday.
We've already spoken, and we're working very hard. If we could make a deal, that'd be good. I think they want to, and I think we'd like to, and we'll see. But we'll be meeting with President Xi in a little while. But for the most part, tomorrow, I would say, would be our big meeting. But in the meantime, people are working. Our staff is working, and we have a lot of very talented people working. Larry Kudlow's representatives are dealing with them on a constant basis. There's some good signs. We'll see what happens.
Still a lot of work to do, though, to try to get some developments going between the United States and China. There's China's issue of intellectual property theft, forced technology transfer, protectionist tariffs, and other issues. One interesting thing of note is that the president has brought along his trade advisor. There you see a picture of him, Peter Navarro. He is a real hawk on China. Earlier this year, when they began trade talks with China, the White House, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, boxed Navarro out of those talks. And the Chinese don't particularly like him because he's so tough. His presence on this trip and in the meeting tonight, an indication that the president wants to hold a tough line on China. Ebony, one possible, at least, sweetener that's on the table, if there is some movement in this bilateral meeting tonight, the White House is considering postponing an automatic increase in tariffs that is set to kick in on January 1st. There's talk that that might be pushed back to April 1st. But there are a lot of people who see the possibility of delaying more tariffs on China as a win for Xi Jinping. So he would likely have to show some real commitment to changing the trade relationship before the White House pulls that trigger. Ebony?
All right, John Roberts in Argentina. Thank you, John.